Once again, you are welcome to the forum or to this platform of marriage and psychology. I cannot wait, to see that we come to that, understanding of how we should, understand our marriage and how we, have the true meaning of what marriage is all about, and not just, you know, focusing on enjoying it, but how to make it enjoyable, how to make it, meaningful, how to make it valuable. It's what I am, you know, trying to promote here. Because for us to know whether marriage is sweet, whether marriage is enjoyable, or why marriage is bitter, why marriage is difficult, you know, it takes a lot to understand all those, facets. And so, my friends, from all, four corners of the earth, wherever you are watching or wherever you're listening, welcome again for, to this another, hour to talk about, marriage and psychology. And when I say psychology, like I first introduced this moment, is not, I'm not talking about science. I'm not talking about, but I'm talking, of course, if it's science, I'm talking about the science of our body, the science of what happens in the marriage, what happens between, excuse me, a husband and a wife. What happened, between the science that happened between, father and mother. So this is what we're talking about. So we'll be looking at, uh, things that matter, things that, affects the quality of our relationship. And so we've been talking or touching bases, touching, angles. And so um, last week, we stopped at, one of the emotions that definitely we struggle with when it comes to our feelings, and I want to kind of pause a little bit and look at, this other aspect that people so much, dwell in it. And it came as a result of a question that that was asked, during the week. And I want to see how I can, address this, and at the same time, while I answer the person's question, and the question was, because I want to talk about marriage and sex. Marriage and sex. I know now, doesn't that really kind of, blow your mind and, quite, quite the yearning to want to hear what am I going to say? Well, I am not going to dig deep into that, because like I said, this is something that we would, gradually get there. But I want to touch a little bit about marriage and sex, because there was a question, that came from someone who was trying to find out, because the person was trying to know if marriage is all about sex. Why sex? So the person was like, kind of, must I, because my wife, says that marriage, sex is not food. So why should she, or why should he, kind of has to wait when she wanted, or wait when he wanted. Well, you know, I just want us to kind of look at it and see. I mean, this is just a beginning. It's just a process until we get to a deeper, more in depth of what I mean when I'll be talking about sex. But today, I just want to look at it, trying to connect the two, marriage and sex. Where did they meet? Where are they meeting? Where is the meeting point? Marriage and sex. Well, and now the question I just want to ask. That's why I don't want to put it to the person, but I just wanted that person to kind of listen to this and see how that plays, and if it answers his question. But if it doesn't answer his question, I would still want him to kind of get back to me and say, well, I didn't get it, so because I don't know all the answers. Okay, but I believe someday I'm going to bring someone who is more expert in terms of sexology, to kind of talk more about that. So, but the question is marriage all about sex? That's a question. Is marriage all about sex? This is how I look at it before I look at what one of my mentors would say. But let me put it this way. I see that no, marriage is not all about sex. Marriage is not all about sex, and so rather a component of binding the relationship. Sex is a component of a marriage, and that component is one of the what binds the relationship. And sex is broader term, so to say, that defines both internal and external expression of how we feel about each other's emotional feelings. Okay, because sex is not that object that you can carry or that you can take. Sex is not that object, all right? But sex is sex, like I said, is more of a is more of something that brings that knits the marriage, the cements the marriage. Okay, and how does it do that? It does that by a way of it's both from the internal and the external of expressing ourselves emotionally to one another, because it is more of feeling. It's more of of the inner satisfaction, because sex takes all about you. It's everything about you. So don't just look at sex from the penile vaginal point of view, but look at it from the total. Sex involves everything about us. And so and that's what I want us to understand. And while I do that, let me look at what one of my mentors said. One of my mentors, that I learned from, long time ago. He came up with this teaching about marriage. What the reason why people marry. Before I get back to the sex. Now he came up with four reasons why people marry. And so he said, number one reason, and he placed them in order of priority. That's the way he put it. He put it this way. He said, people marry because of companionship. And he's looking at it from a biblical perspective. Now, people marry because of companionship. Based on Genesis, 2 verse 18, the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him, companionship. So there, there's no, you cannot imply, and you cannot, there's no sex there. It's not talking about sex. It's talking about these people coming together to give comfort to one another. So that is number one reason why people want to marry. People want to marry because I want to have someone that I can relate with, someone that I can share my joy together, someone that I can be with him. He can be with me. He can be with me. Like yesterday, one of my clients, that I had, so I asked him, about his relationship with his wife. He said, well, my ex. I said, okay, tell me about that. He said, well, yeah, because my ex-wife, we are so much connected. We are still connected. We are still relating because we did not marry because of anything. Our marriage was based on who we are, but not what we are. I said, wow, I think I like that. So now they are not together. They are separate. They've divorced themselves. But culturally, once there is a child in between the two of you, so you share in terms of bringing that child. So they are together. He said she still support me. She, not he. She still support me, as someone that she relate with, to someone that she loves, even though they are not together, even though they don't have sex, even though they don't eat food together, but yet they talk a lot, they talk a lot, but it is not about, but the relationship they have built together, they value that relationship. See, companionship. And he said another thing, the number two, from companionship, he now narrows it down to enjoy sex. Now, marriage is companionship. Marriage is about sex, So he narrows it down to sex. Now, meaning, of course, when you are united together in this relationship that you share together of joy, your happiness, it kind of, the culmination of that, relationship, of course, probably you share bed together, when you sit together, you do whatever together, it gets to that moment that you would start to feel, because it's a God thing. Sex is a God thing. God built that in us, like one reverend would say, well, you don't have to teach someone how to make sex. You don't have to teach someone, because it's a God thing. So of course it's a God thing, because it comes from that emotion that God has built in us, those chemicals that are in our brain, because they were rewarded with some moments of kind of connecting psychologically and both emotionally. And, there's that, someone will say magnet, it's a magnet. When a man and a woman come together, that magnetic, force, whether you like it or not, it's going to go. So definitely when there's that companionship, that relationship is kind of going on. And when you guys are too intimate, there's that feeling, that is coming from the inside, from the brain, because sex is in the mind. So it comes from the brain, So when it's so intense, now it culminates to that, okay, to penile and vaginal, intercourse. So, but that is one, why that people marry, because of companionship. People marry because, of course, they want to have sex. Then people marry for procreation. Yeah, as you are together, as you engage in the sex, of course the Bible says, children are blessings. So but now to have sex, he quoted Genesis 2 verse 24, 25, 1 Corinthians 7, 3, to 5. Of course, That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. And of course, then the husband should fulfill his marital duty, that's First Corinthians, to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but the yields to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields into his wife. Do not deprive each other, except perhaps by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. So when it comes to consent, ask us, when it comes to consent, counselors know this very well, because before you counsel this very particular person, you need to seek their consent. Before you say this, you have to seek their consent. So when it comes to consent, of course, it has to. The only way that you will not do it, or you will not have sex, is when you guys consented. So now for procreation, once there's sex, definitely you are expecting. That's what after you marry, 5 months, 6 months, what's going on? But some people, that's why they're married. So if there's no child, marriage is normal. Some people, if there's no sex, marriage is normal. Some people, if the closeness, like women who seek for attention, if there's no companionship, there's no marriage. And the last one is to remedy immorality, or remedy temptation or sin. Okay, some people, listen, because they want to follow God, because they want to devote themselves to serve to the service of God, so they don't want to. They want to marry so that they will avoid, looking at this woman, lustfully, going after this woman, and he wants to marry so that he can avoid those things. So this is what my mentor came up with that, and I think I to some certain degree I agree with him. Because this is coming from the scripture, it's coming from the Bible. He believes, excuse me, he believes that we marry, because of loneliness. So we want to eradicate, we want to push out, loneliness. We want to be with someone that we can talk with, that we can interact with, that we can share our vision, our desires. We can share, our dreams. We can share, our goals together. Because marriage is a community. Marriage is not when you are in marriage. Remember, it's not you being by yourself. That's why we are against technology. That today, instead of you having TV watching together and enjoying yourself, but now technology, you have your phone. She has her phone. You guys are no. That's not marriage. Based on a theory of companionship. Based on theory of companionship, marriage is now everything aside. It's about you. It's about the two together. And of course, based on the theory of sex, now marriage is about sex. If there's no sex, forget it. We cannot marry, and that's why some people, based on that theory, now some people, once he cannot have sex with his wife for the first time, he look for the sex. This day, no. Another day, no. Another day, no. Then you know what? No, I didn't marry you to come and just be looking at you like that. No, you're not the picture. You're not no. I marry you because I want to have sex with you. Okay, so that's it. Based on that theory, then another theory, for procreation. That's why in some cultures, once you marry and there's no child, they feel that marriage is not fruitful. They feel that marriage is not blessed, and of course, that's not true. And that's not true. Blessings are not only of children. Blessings come in diverse ways. Who knows? You are married because, you're married and God did not bring children your way. Maybe because someone is going to abandon his child and you will be the one to take care of it. Someone is going to have a child, but for some reason he is not able to take care, and God will use to take. So you see, now God brings blessings in different ways. So Blessed, to be blessed is not only to have children, but this is one of those things, to be considered. Then, of course, another theory to remedy immorality, and of course, this theory is to say yes, I don't want to, I don't want to have multiple sexual affairs. I don't want to have multiple affairs. I just want to have one wife. I just want to have one woman that I can go to bed with, that I can enjoy myself with, that I can do things together with her. I just want to have one wife. So that's basically to give you that picture of of what my mentor said. So now I know, coming back, marriage and sex. See now, from the four reasons why people marry, you can see that sex, like I said, is a component. It's just part of it. It's one aspect of the marriage. So it's not all about marriage. It's not all about marriage. There are people who marry in some cultures who would agree. We are marrying, but remember, you have to agree that we are not going to have sex, meaning penile vaginal sex. We're not going to have that. And they will agree to marry, and of course they can be in bed together, do everything together. But when it comes to intercourse, penile vaginal intercourse, no, they're not going to go there. See now, so that is why when it comes to marriage, I think the prime of it all is the relationship. If there's healthy relationship, there's quality relationship, then now it overshadows all other things. The relationship overshadows all other things. So, and that's why, and like I say, if you're finding that to be true, now sex is more broader term, is a term that is widely. So now sometimes, not sometimes, when it comes to sex is a word, and it could be defined in different ways. If you're talking about sex, probably someone might be thinking you're talking about age, a gender. But in this, in this context, in our discussion today, I'm talking about penile vaginal intercourse. All right. And so now, does that am I trying to say, okay, now sex, if you don't have penile vaginal intercourse, it is not sex? No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. But that's I mean, basically people are bought on that. People have decided to go for that. 90% of people, this is it. If there's no penile vaginal intercourse, then definitely that is not sex. But from different scholars, marriage scholars, from different psychological counselors and psychologists, they look at sex from a different perspective. You can have sex, just sitting with your sex is not just penile or vaginal, no. But cuddling each other, kissing, and all of those things could mean sex, as long as, because since it is about internal and external, emotional feeling that brings about the satisfaction of the two together. That brings about the two together. So you are the ones to define, what sex means to you. You are the ones to define that. It's not me to define for you what sex means to you for a maximum, satisfaction. All right, you define it. So when you define it, then of course you practice it. And that's what once there's that understanding. That's why from the beginning I told you, I said, listen, marriage is not When you see someone just marrying and you just want to grab a woman or you just want to go after a man, no. That's why I say, listen, to prepare to go into this matters a lot. It matters. It is not just getting the woman, but it's about understanding, I mean, what I am going into. It's about really knowing if I am ready or not. It's about the two. If there's that connection, if there's that connection, that's why you need to ask a lot of questions before you marry. I'm not referring to, well, are we compatible? Well, compatibility, I mean, only God can tell us. But I know God made us, with different, personality, with different temperaments, and those temperaments and personalities play a lot of role in our relationship as a husband and wife. So that is why I want to know, I want to understand. I might not know it all, but I want to have at least an overview of who my future wife is going to be, or who my future husband is going to be. I want to have that overview before I get into it, so that now when they begin to unveil themselves or itself in one way or another, then I will say, oh yeah, I was expecting this. Now you are ready to now kind of take it. Then you kind of play around it. You kind of know how you're going to manage it. But if you are not going in because I'm going with these expectations, then it becomes something different. So that is why I said, earlier I said you need to know your partner's sexual life. So if it's someone that loves to have sex, then especially when it comes to our temperament, psychologically it's known that phlegmatic and melancholy kind of, they might not be this go in terms of sex. But when it comes to choleric and sanguine, these are people that, yes, you would expect that when it comes to, these are people that their blood is kind of running and is burning and it's kind of wanting, I want it. But for the flag, if you man like now, if a man who's a sang choleric sang or sang choleric who married a male flag or flag male, now definitely there's going to be a problem, because the wife might not be looking for it, but the man will be going for it. So what you do if you discover that, then it's now knowing that this is what is going on. So there's no point to fight. There's no point to yell at each other. There's no point to run away from. No, all you need to know that now there's a problem. I discovered, okay, I'm observing there's a problem. So how do I fix this problem? That's the question you're supposed to ask. But it's not like to say, oh, you don't want this, you don't want to do this, you don't want, I know you don't love me, you hate me, you do this. No, that's a problem. So ask, what is going on? How do we fix this? So you kind of ask yourself, and to know how you can fix that. I mean, if you cannot handle it, then that's where now help is needed. And that's when you go, okay, reach out to, sex counselor, a sex counselor, or a sexologist, to kind of consult, that him or her as regards to what do we do in that? What do we do in that? How do I go about this? What do I do with this? Because mostly our attention, now the reason why sometimes we have problems in our homes is just because we look at marriage as more, I mean, as marriage as sex. Everything is sex, but it is not. If your emphasis is always about marriage, about sex in your marriage, then there's a problem. It's a problem. Except if you agree with your wife that that is why you're married, then that woman should really get ready, because that was why. Then you should have also, kind of talked about, okay, how is going to go, how is going to go, how are we going to be doing, are you going to agree, okay, we're going to do it once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, or every day. You agree, so that if you don't get it the first day, if it is once a week, you know that if you don't get it on Monday, you are expecting it on Tuesday, you are expecting it on Wednesday, until it gets to Sunday and you don't get it, then it becomes that's not the agreement. Okay, if it is two times a week, then you know that within the week there must be, kind of coming together, in that the fellowship of kind of sharing the body, or the fellowship of going to deeper emotion, emotional feeling or emotional expression, not in anger, not in no, because there's an you agree, you agree. So it's just sex is just a component. It is not the marriage. You agree on how you want it. You agree on when and how. Remember, I keep saying this. I said, my professor back in the seminary used to tell us that someone was asking the question whether if there's type. And that's where someday we're going to go into that. Or there's a position or different position, and all of that. And the man, I remember the professor said, you know what? It's your agreement. If you want to go on top of a tree, go there and do it. And if she likes it and you like it, go ahead and do it. If you like it on the table, go ahead on the table and go ahead and do it. If you like it in the kitchen, go ahead into the kitchen and do it. If you in the bathroom, you want to do it in the bathroom, go ahead and do it. It's you. See, it's how you try to express yourself in terms of your feelings at that moment, in terms of your emotional, feelings in that aspect. So don't copy anybody. When it comes to penile vaginal sex, don't copy anybody. Copy yourself. Learn together and see how you guys can thrive together in your marriage. See how you guys can progress together. Some marriages that they don't care about sex, whether they do it or don't do it. I know. I met those type of people. They don't care. And they're living peacefully. They're living, now would you tell me that that's not healthy? Well, that's your definition of healthy marriage. It will be your definition. Because as far as they're concerned, what brings them together might not, or what the bonding might not be determined, or might not be lying on that, on the penile vaginal intercourse, but rather maybe the way they relate when it comes to discussion, when it comes to sharing something. They have a way of connecting. So find your connection. That's what I want to leave you with today. Find your connection. But marriage is not all about sex, but find your connection. What is your driving force in terms of becoming intimate with your wife, becoming intimate with your husband? Find it. What's your driving force? If you find that, go for it and make sure you stick to it. If that will make your home, healthy, happy, and go for it. But not and of course, he said, my professor also mentioned that some people, think sex is only done in the night. So just like food, some of us who like to eat tuwo in the night every day, so they think sex is a night thing. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, because sex is not stealing. It's not like something that you want to wait and no. Like because I say it's an expression of internal and external emotional feelings, you know. So it's anywhere. When I say anywhere, I don't mean you just go there in the public, just stand there and you want to do it. No. Remember, it's honorable. Sex is, you know, you need to honor sex too. You need to respect sex. It's something that you need to respect it again. So, but when it comes to privacy, that's something of a, you know, if you're in your house or you decided to go on vacation in a hotel that you know that it's just you that do it whichever way you want it. It's yours. It's all about, it's all yours. So I know that some women, let me before my time, you know, let me warn both men and the women. Please, please stop punishing your husband. Stop punishing your wife because she did this in the day or she did this, you know, an hour ago, and now she wants you guys to connect in that. You're like, no, I don't care. Is sex, I mean, it's not supposed to be so. And for you as a wife, because he didn't do this or he didn't do that, and you want to punish him with that. No, that is not good. That is not healthy. That could be the reason of you connecting back. That could be the reason of you, you know, I'm trying to restore that happiness, the joy that you had in an hour ago. In fact, a lady told me this. She said she uses she uses sex as a therapy to her husband. Excuse me. She uses sex as a therapy to her husband. If something is going on in the house, nobody is there. As soon as she sees her husband is getting angry, she know what to do. She said, "Okay, come on, come here. Let's talk. Let's talk." She'll pull him either to the couch or to the bed. You want it? I give you. And as soon as that they are done, you know, the whole discussion changes. You know what I'm talking about. You married ones. You know what I'm talking about. So she uses it as a therapy. So I mean, if it's something that you want to do, go ahead. Go ahead. You know. So I mean, sex is good. God brought that for a purpose. It's I don't know how you can define. I mean, when it comes to orgasm, when it comes to real, you know, satisfaction, the joy of, you know, getting real deep understanding, you can't define it. It's only those who are in it, and that's why, you know, the warning is to the unmarried not to go into it, because once they go into it, they don't want to get out of it. Before you know, they begin to reward it, reward those moments of that. I don't know. So we differ from how we express our moment of satisfaction. Okay. So guys, I think I have said enough for today in terms of sex. You know, we will come back. I told you, you know, I try to kind of I don't want to go, you know, I mean above my shadow. I don't want to go faster than my shadow, and I don't want to, you know, but I just want to. I'm trying. I look at how things should fit in, how we should prioritize, you know, when it comes to marriage, you know, because you know psychologically we need to define ourselves. We need to define our body. We need to understand our body. We need to kind of know what is going on with us. We don't just want to kind of you know, just beat the body the way we want to beat it. All right. So it's my prayer that and my hope that all of us someday, you know, until Jesus comes, um we would understand. We would learn, you know, the better way. We will learn, you know, in a good way. So thank you once again for, you know, taking your time to connect at this very point. So still, you know, Eli Kerek. Meet you next week again. Enjoy your weekend and have a happy home. Bye bye. Thank you. Mm.